everyone, I hope you're doing so well and welcome to this video all about 5 blue oil paints that I recommend. Also, thank you so much for your amazing comments on my last video, I appreciate it so much, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you are new. So these are just pigments that I think are really amazing to use, and I'll explain why per sort of brand. So 5 different brands. The first one I'm going to start off with is pretty boring. It's basically ultramarine blue. Now, this is just my personal recommendation because in the land of ultramarine blue, pretty much every brand has one. It's one of the most popular colours ever. Mix it to make greens, you could do all sorts of things with it. It's a very, very old colour. This is synthetically made now, of course. It's no longer the lapis lazuli, unfortunately, but you can still get that, I believe, if you look in certain brands. So I believe that Michael Harding and a couple of other brands do it. Actually, I think that's the only one, but it's expensive, and I also think that he may be running out of it. So if you do want to try that historical colour, the real thing, the real historical one, then you need to sort of run over and see if you can get some from his website. The ultramarine blue that I have chosen is one by Old Holland, and the reason I've chosen this one is just because I think it is a really beautiful bright blue. It's actually the very first colour that I got from Old Holland. I've repurchased it since. It was the first 2 colours I got from Old Holland were the ultramarine blue, and there was a mixed colour, and it's a mixed pink, I believe. When I used it on my canvas, I just remember that I thought the colour intensity was so luminous and bright. Now, of course, there are so many other brands that make incredible ultramarine blues, but if you are a beginner and you don't know where to start and you are thinking about getting maybe a more expensive brand, then try this one. Also, ultramarine blue, just as a thing, it tends to be a cheaper colour. So if you want to try Old Holland as well, try the ultramarine blue, try a few of their other colours because it's more cost effective. And then if it's for you, you can sort of maybe work up some more expensive pigments, or you can just stick with those ones or not. Okay, so this is what the colour looks like. I don't know whether you'll really be able to see because, oh yeah, you can actually, because it's so strong, you can actually see how beautiful it is. This does, in my opinion, lean more towards a violet, which is what I personally prefer. And some ultramarine blues, obviously, they can lean towards a little bit more greenish, but then I always think if you're going to get an ultramarine blue that leans that way, you might as well get a phthalo. Next in this lineup is Prussian blue. I'm actually boiling, I don't know why I'm wearing a jumper. Actually, I do know why, because this weather is crazy at the moment. It's absolutely crazy. So I'm going to say that Prussian blue for me is a great colour. A lot of people bypass it, they skip it, because basically what you can do is if you want to have a limited palette, you don't want to spend too much money on oil paints, fair enough, you can basically just buy phthalo blue and add black, and you pretty much have roughly a Prussian blue. The thing is, when you actually buy the Prussian blue pigment, what I really like about it is that it has that old look. It has that old painting look. If you like traditional paintings, if you like to emulate that traditional style, if you have been taught in a traditional sort of way, you definitely want to look into this colour. It is a very old colour, very historical, and I particularly like the M. Graham one because it has a really nice intensity to it. It's dark, it's very rich, and it's full on like a Prussian blue, like a dark sea, you know, at night. So if ever you're doing sort of the shadows on the sea, on the water, even in sort of night skies, this is just such a perfect colour. It's might look almost black here, but yeah, it's such an amazing colour. I think it's kind of underrated. It is the colour used in the Gainsborough, the Blue Boy painting. Next up, I'm going to talk about Gamblin's Manganese Blue Hue. This is actually one of my favourite colours. I've mentioned it on my channel before lots of times. If you have seen me mention it before, you will be bored. But basically, this is an imitation of Manganese Blue, the genuine one. I believe that was discontinued around in the 80s. It used to be a pigment that was made, I believe, for the purpose of painting swimming pools. So I just think that is so cool, just the whole idea of it, the way it was made. I think a lot of people think, by the way, and I used to think before I kind of got into the whole oil painting land, I used to think that oil paints were made for oil painters, like the pigments were made for oil painters, but quite often they aren't. They're made for other purposes, like for painting cars and painting swimming pools, in this case, and then the pigment trickles down to other branches. So oil painting brands, they get the sort of, that's the way they get the pigment, but they don't always necessarily start out as being a pigment that is specifically for oil painters. So anyway, it was discontinued then, which is such a shame, the genuine one anyway. I've never tried the genuine manganese blue rather. I believe it is out there somewhere, probably on eBay, or there may be some oil paint brands that still do sell it, which I think is great. I think it's great to be able to try those things. I haven't tried it. You know, if ever I get the opportunity, I will obviously talk about it on my channel. Yeah, so this is just a version of it. I've tried several different versions. I know M. Graham makes one. I used to have that one until it leaked. That's another story. That was actually my fault, I think. There's another one that I've tried. Oh, I've tried the Winsor & Newton. I may do a video actually comparing manganese blue hues. Let me know if you think that's a good idea. I think I might do that because I have 3, so why not? And so yeah, I have tried some, and out of all of the ones that I've tried so far, this is my favourite. So as you can tell, I haven't tried the whole, you know, I haven't tried every single brand. But yeah, the reason I like this one in comparison to the others is this has a green undertone. It's really, really unique, and it is so transparent. It's one of the most transparent colours I've ever used, and I think it's unique. But yeah, so this one is mega transparent. So what I do sometimes is if I want to paint a sea, I will use this colour and like just to make all the other colours transparent if I want to. So this is what it looks like, and it is, as you can see, a nice blue, but you would only ever really know the green undertone if you actually used it. You wouldn't be able to see the undertone unless you use it yourself. So don't take my word for it. If you love really, really transparent colours, try this Ganlu one. So the next one is Michael Harding. I'm just going to put my glove on. There was another paint by Michael Harding, which was a King's Blue Light, which I also think is incredible. And I was going to put that in the video, but then I thought I would only do 5, so I'm not cheating. So this one is Caribbean Turquoise. I've got paint all over it, so I don't know if you can actually see the writing on it, but it's just because I'm messy. Michael Harding, of course, an incredible brand, British brand, amazing, and a younger brand because it's only been around since the 80s, I think. But of course, massively successful, massively popular, and rightly so, just in super wonderful paint, can't say enough great things. And yeah, one of my favourites, and this is just an absolutely amazing colour. Whenever I've used this in a painting, people have actually asked me, what colour is that? Like, how did you mix it? And it is a mixed colour. It's PG7, I was correct about that, PG15.3 and PY74. So this to me leans more greenish than bluish for a turquoise, but it is really incredible. It's actually like an emerald colour. It's kind of just a little bit bluer than an emerald, if that makes sense. It has an amazing glow. And I use this so much, like you could even make a green, like a proper green tree out of this. See a green tree, as opposed to a pink tree. You can make a proper, you know, proper tree with this if you add yellow. So sometimes I do that if I'm just kind of mixing greens. But for seas, this is just such a wonderful colour. I adore the name as well, just amazing. And what I really like about Michael Harding is his website is so comprehensive. And if you go on his website, it will tell you every single piece of information about it, what inspired him to make the colour, which I just think is so, like, that's fascinating. But also whether the colour is non-toxic or toxic, whether it's vegan or not. If you're a vegan, you know, that's also something interesting to know. I mean, I personally find that interesting anyway, because I do like to know if my paints contain like an animal part or an animal bone or something, you know, so it's quite interesting to know. And yeah, it just, I think if you're gonna try, you know, a few colours, a few mixed colours as well, because I don't think there's any harm in, you know, trying mixed colours, then it's definitely one to go for. And finally, we have Wallace Seymour. Once again, I'm a huge fan of Wallace Seymour. I don't have that many paints of Wallace Seymour, only because I just have too many paints at the moment. But when there is a sale, I will be, you know, buying 1 or 2 more if I can resist. I can't resist. Yeah, such an amazing brand, and this is a really, really beautiful colour. This is a mix of PY6, PY4, it's not PY anything, it's PW6, PW4, it's been a long day, PB29. It's not a King's Blue. Start again. This is Royal Blue Light. The light ting is too bright, so you probably can't even see that. Aha! Now you can see. You couldn't even see the colour swatch on the label. So yeah, so this is a really super, super light colour. It's lighter than King's Blue Light. What I really like about it is that it is really, really good for highlights. And it's also really nice if you're painting a sky and it's one of those like early morning skies, you know, where the sky is so bright and so lit up that you don't have much colour in the sky. So it's not like an intense blue or anything like that, because skies actually are very often the sort of muted shade. They're not really sort of bright blue unless you live in, you know, somewhere really nice and not England. Yeah, England is really nice, but the weather is a joke. So we get a lot of these skies. Actually, in all honesty, if one wanted to paint an English sky, all you needed to do was to get a grey, a light grey, and just paint it that colour every single day, because that is English weather. Just before I go, I thought I would show you this painting that I'm working on. It is of a cat that is literally on the edge of a cliff. And I just thought, because I've been talking about blue, and there's a lot of blue in this painting, I thought I'd show you. So yeah, so this cat is kind of like looking at this castle beyond and contemplating what it's going to do next. Is it going to go swimming? Is it going to go swim in the sea? Or is it going to take a different route? So go this way and then find another path to get to the castle. It's an interesting one. Perhaps it's it knows more about geography than, you know, the average human like myself. I do hope you enjoyed this video. It was quite brief and a bit of a ramble. Well, that's as normal, but yes, I do hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you soon. Next time I will have like more interesting things. I may do a quiz or something. I was going to do that, but the thing is, all quizzes and all those things are on my phone, and I'm actually filming on my phone. So, plot twist, I don't know what to do, like how to do that. So I'll work out a way, and I will include some more fun things at the end next time. I do hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and tell me your favourite blue if you can. And I will see you soon. Take care, guys.